a lock. Rotate lock.
I should do that. Yeah, that would help. Huh? Okay, so special rate triangles. We're actually going to skip this top part for now. So we're just going to skip this and go down here. We're going to be talking about two special rate triangles, and the first one we're going to talk about has 45, 90 degree angle. It looks like this. You have your two legs that are adjacent to the 90 degree angle, your hypotenuse that's opposite the 90 degree angle, and then these two angles are the exact same measure, which also make it an isosceles triangle. So because those angles are the same measure, these legs are actually the same measure, so just keep that in mind. Here's the dimensions of a 45, 90 degree angle. Again, the legs are the same measure, so if you know the measure of one leg, then you also know the measure of the other leg. And then the hypotenuse, you just take the leg and multiply by square root of 2. So if you're going from a leg to the hypotenuse, you multiply that number by square root of 2. Then if you're given the length of the hypotenuse and you have to get to the leg, Paxton, make sure you're focused, because if you're not, it gets hard. Okay, so if you're given the length of the hypotenuse and you're trying to find the leg, you divide by square root of 2. And we'll practice this in examples. So here in this chart, some people in first period find this chart helpful. If you're given the length of a leg and you're trying to find the hypotenuse in this specific triangle, then you can take the leg and multiply it by square root of 2. If you're given the length of the hypotenuse and you're trying to find the length of the leg, you take the hypotenuse and divide it by square root of 2. Okay, so we're going to keep going back to this. I also have the dimensions on the board here. We're specifically talking about the 45, 90 degree triangle. So here, looking at this first example, it shows us the angle measures, and we can say, oh, that's the special right triangle with the 45, 90. It shows us the length of one of the legs. This leg right here is the same measure, so this is just 10, so x equals 10. And then to find the hypotenuse, we're going to multiply 10 by square root of 2. So the hypotenuse is 10 square root of 2. So that is y. That's the gist. Okay, so the next example. Number 2, it shows us the length of the leg as square root of 6. Then this leg right here is going to be the same measure, so y equals square root of 6. Then to find x, we need to multiply the leg by square root of 2. So to find x, we need to take square root of 6 and multiply it by square root of 2. Square root of 6 times square root of 2 is square root of 12. Then we do need to simplify that square root of 12. So 12 can be broken up as 4 times 3. And then square root of 4 is 2, so we get 2 square root of 3 equals x. Okay, the third example, it gives us the leg again. That means that this leg is the same measure, so y equals 3 square root of 7. That one was easy. Then to get the hypotenuse, we need to multiply by square root of 2. So we're going to take 3 square root of 7 and multiply by square root of 2. Square root of 7 times square root of 2 is 14, so 3 square root of 14 is our answer for what x equals. We would try to simplify that if we could, but 14, the only factors there are 7 and 2, and neither of those factors have a perfect square, so at that point, we're done. How's it so far? Not too bad? And kind of weird? Okay. Then number 4, now they're giving us the length of the hypotenuse, and we have to find the length of the legs. So to go from hypotenuse to leg, now we have to divide by square root of 2. So 4 square root of 2, the length of the hypotenuse, divided by square root of 2. Now square root of 2 divided by square root of 2 cancels out, and we're just left with 4. So x equals 4. And then this leg is the same length, so y equals 4 as well. Okay, number 5, we're given the hypotenuse again. We have to find the length of the leg. We do have to divide by square root of 2. So we're going to do 12 divided by square root of 2. Now we can't leave the radical in the denominator, so we're going to simplify by multiplying by square root of 2 over square root of 2. Multiplying by 1, and then we get 12 square root of 2 over 2. Simplify this by dividing both of those by 2. And 6 square root of 2. So x equals 6 square root of 2. And this leg is the same measure as this one, so y is also 6 square root of 2. Then number 6, again, they gave us the hypotenuse. We need to find the length of the leg. We are going to divide by square root of 2. So 4 square root of 6, the length of the hypotenuse, divided by square root of 2. With these square roots, yes, you could multiply by square root of 2 over square root of 2 to get rid of the radical as a denominator. Another thing that works is just like you can multiply square roots, you can divide them as well. So square root of 6 divided by square root of 2 is square root of 3. So this simplifies to 4 square root of 3. And that's your length of y and also your length of x. Okay, we're not flipping the page quite yet. We're going to go up to the top again. Okay, so the example at the beginning, I told you I was going to skip it for now. There are some like this on the homework, and here's what the homework says. It says, this is a square, ABCD is a square. The diagonal of the square on the homework, it says it's like 16 millimeters. It asks for what the side lengths are, or what the perimeter is. So in a square, this diagonal bisects the angle, so it becomes a 45, 45, and 90-degree triangle. So to find the side length, you would have to divide by square root of 2. So it would be 16 divided by square root of 2. Multiply by square root of 2 over square root of 2. Simplify it. You get 8 square root of 2 as your side length. And then if you needed to find the perimeter, so perimeter would be, that times 4. And in a calculator, you would just find what the decimal is for this. So I'm going to do 2 square root times 8, which I get this weird number, and then just multiply it by 4, and that's your perimeter. So here the perimeter would be 45.3. So that's like the most challenging question you could get on the homework would be that. Okay, we're going to flip over to the next page. Okay, so now here's a new triangle. We're only doing 2 of them. The first one was the 45, 45, 90, and now we're going to do the 30, 60, 90 triangle. Here it is pictured here. It has 3 different side lengths this time. The shortest side is opposite the smallest angle, so the shortest side is always opposite the 30-degree angle. So that's our short leg. Our long leg is going to be opposite the 60-degree angle. And then, of course, the hypotenuse is opposite the 90-degree angle. The dimensions of this triangle are right here. They use x. I'm going to change that to s. Instead of x, we're just going to use the variable s. And s stands for the shortest side, or the short leg. Okay, so the shortest leg is always s. The hypotenuse is going to be 2s. So to go from the short leg to the hypotenuse, you multiply by 2. Then this right here is just s times square root of 3. So to go from the short leg to the longer leg, s times square root of 3. And then to go backwards, you would divide by square root of 3 or divide by 2. Okay, so we're going to fill out this chart here. If you're given the short leg and you're trying to find the long leg, you take the short leg and you multiply by square root of 3. Then if you have the short leg and you're trying to find the hypotenuse, you multiply by 2, so it'll be s times 2. If you're given the length of the hypotenuse and you want to find the short leg, so to go from hypotenuse to short leg, you divide by 2. So we'll just say h for hypotenuse divided by 2. And then long leg to short leg. So to go from this length to the short leg, you would divide by square root of 3. So long leg divided by square root of 3. And then it also says to be careful, you cannot go from the long leg to hypotenuse and vice versa. So to go from 2s to s square root of 3, there's no way to do it, or no simple way to do it. You would have to go find the shortest side by dividing by 2 and then multiply by square root of 3. So you'd have to go around this way to figure out the long leg. Okay, so let's look at some examples. Find the value of x and y for each triangle. Okay, so here's our first example. It gives us the short leg right here. So this is our s. I'm going to do what's easiest first. I can multiply this by 2 to get the hypotenuse. So x will be 24. So I'm just using these dimensions here. Then based on this, I can multiply by square root of 3 to get that long leg. So I'm going to multiply 12 by square root of 3. And so y equals 12 square root of 3. Was that doable? Okay. Okay, number 2. They give me the shortest side again. Then I can multiply that by 2 to get the hypotenuse. So that would be 12 square root of 5. Then to get the long leg, I'm going to multiply by square root of 3. So I'm going to need to do a little bit more math here. So 6 square root of 5 times square root of 3, which is 6 square root of 15. Of course, I would simplify this if I could, but 5 and 3, I can't take a square out of that. So y just equals 6 square root of 15. Number 3. This time they gave me the hypotenuse. I can divide that by 2 to get the shortest side. So I'm going to divide by 2, and x equals 8. And then to get this longer leg, I need to multiply by square root of 3. So y equals 8 square root of 3. What? Are you following this? Okay. Thank you for concentrating. Even if it feels hard, just put as much focus into it as you can. And we are spending another day on it, but just if you can get it today, it'll make tomorrow even easier. And number 4, they give us the hypotenuse. We're going to divide that by 2 to get the shortest side. So x would be 4 square root of 6. I just divided that by 2. Then to get the longer leg, I need to multiply by square root of 3. So I'm going to take 4 square root of 6 and multiply by square root of 3 to get y. And square root of 6 times square root of 3 is square root of 18. Now I can simplify that further. So if I break up 18 into 9 times 2, then you get 4 times square root of 9 times square root of 2, which is 4 times 3 times 2, square root of 2. So that is 12 square root of 2 for y. Okay, and number 5, they get a little bit harder each time. Now they're giving me the longer leg. To go to the short side, I need to divide by square root of 3. So I'm going to take, I'll do it down here, 9 square root of 2 divided by square root of 3. And then I need to get rid of the radical as a denominator, so I need to multiply by square root of 3 over square root of 3. 9 times square root of 6 over 3. Just simplifying this. 3 and 9 can both be divided by 3, so I get 1 and 3. So this equals 3 square root of 6. So I took the longer leg, divided by square root of 3, and I got 3 square root of 6 for x. Now it's easy from here. To go from short side to the hypotenuse, I need to double it, so I'm just getting 6 square root of 6. Okay. Last example. This example is just like the one we just did. They gave us the long leg. In order to find out the short side, we need to divide by square root of 3. So I'm going to do 21 divided by square root of 3. To simplify this, I'll multiply by square root of 3 over square root of 3. Three and 21 can both be divided by 3, so I simplify this to 1 and 7. So x equals 7 square root of 3. Then from here is the easy part, because you can just take the shortest side and times it by 2 to get the hypotenuse. So 7 square root of 3 times 2 is 14 square root of 3. And then we're done. Okay, so you do have quite a bit of time to spend on the homework for this, which is nice because you can spend the time really thinking about it. If you have questions, of course, let me know. And then if you get done with your homework early, work on Khan Academy for the week.